I was like, yeah.
Welcome to the HVAC Grapevine, where building science and HVAC finally sit down at the same table. This is the place where ducts get judged, airflow gets measured, and industry news gets blown around harder than an undersized return air grill. If you came here just to kill time, sorry, you're about to accidentally learn something. Sit tight, laugh a little, and maybe even walk away with enough HVAC trivia to make your co-workers question your social life. The show's about to start, so strap in tighter than a zip tie on flex duct and grab a chair that doesn't rock like an out-of-balance blower wheel. Now's let's start the show.
Heat or cold, we hold the line. Answers you need, clear and fine. Experts talking truth in mind. This is the HVAC Grapevine.
Boom, boom. Man, I love that intro. I love that music. Yeah. So we are at the NCI Summit, and we are hosting the Grapevine Show live. So if you're out there watching, wish you could have been here. There's been some stellar classes going on. Been a lot of fun.
It's a killer show.
And you know what I like about coming here into this event is there's always very interesting, very knowledgeable HVAC contractors who have other specialty skills outside of just being a good contractor.
Yeah.
And today we have one of those contractors with us, and his name is David Coziahr. Am I saying that right, David?
Close. Coziahr.
Coziahr. Okay.
Coziahr.
Yeah. I'm terrible with names.
That's all right.
Welcome to the show, Dave. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So I'll tell you, the show runs an hour. So prepare yourself, because Dave's really, really, really smart, and he's going to blow our brains. And I don't want to waste any time on this podcast. I want to deep dive. So Dave, this one's about you. Drive, man. Tell us what we're going to get into today.
Well, we'll just get into a little bit of the data that I collect. I know David Richardson always tells us that you don't need to measure everything. But I like to measure things and may not analyze it, but I like to have the data available, so in case I want to, and to analyze it in the future, I've got it there.
Right.
So what I've done is put together a few charts to show what I collect and what's important to me when I look at it. So I think the first one we're going to look at is in 2024 on the air conditioners tested.
All right, that's the gray or the green one. Okay, so if you're watching, we're going to pull this up on the screen. Dave has put some charts together for us, and we're gonna talk data. This is data-driven results right here. That's how we titled it, because Dave, he brought the good stuff. And this is how, Dave, just give us an idea how many years and what's the timeline of putting all these graphs together? How much data are we talking about?
This is just 1 year of data.
Okay.
It'll eventually go into. I started Rob Falcon. I took my first course in 2007. It was pressure testing, and one of the commitments that NCI asked you to make for the next 30 months, what are you going to do with the information that you've learned? And I felt like I needed more than 30 days. So it's only 30 days.
Yeah.
So I committed to, during that year, 2007, 2008, I was going to collect data. I was going to collect static pressure data, specifically on every job that I went on, and kind of get a feeling of what I'm seeing on a daily basis. So in that time, that 1 year of data testing, after that, I committed that, okay, now that I have enough data to be able to make some decisions, now I can start suggesting ductwork improvements. Where can we make improvements in excess pressure so that we can lower it? So it's a chart that we're looking at. It's just from the 2024.
Can you give me the name of that chart so I
It
can
was
pull it up?
it's the
Distribution?
2024 ACs tested.
Oh,
2024 AC tested. I think it's the gray. That's the gray one. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Let me add that.
distribution of air conditioners.
There we go.
tested.
Okay. Yeah. So I just shared it on the screen, Dave. If we'll take the wheel to take,
So-
tell us what we're looking at.
So what we're looking at here is I wanted to know where, what size units am I testing the most?
Right.
So I just have it from a ton and a half all the way up to 5 ton. And as you see, the units I test the most are typically the 210 units, and those at 2 to 2.5 ton, ton and a half, 2.5, 2.5. Those are the majority of the systems that I install.
Okay.
And
where are you located, Dave?
I'm in Council Bluffs, Iowa. So
Okay.
Our design condition on a cooling day is 91 degrees. Dry bulb, 76 wet bulb. So
Okay.
we're
Yeah.
hot and humid. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot different.
It's because you got all that corn.
Yeah, we got
Corn
that
sweat.
Oh, yeah.
Corn sweat.
Jake's.
But, so we're in a basement, predominantly basement environment. So we've got metal duct and.
Is there any reason why you didn't do mini splits?
Um,
Just messing with you.
That's fine. Predominantly, it's metal duct all the way on the supply, but we like to use building cavities for return air, which is just
Yeah,
horrible.
Adam's been showing me pictures about that,
It's ridiculous.
and
Yeah.
I'm like, what? 70s, 60s? He's like, no, this is new. It's
Yeah.
a newer house.
Pretty much.
Wow.
So
Come on in.
yeah,
We didn't even introduce.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Adam. I mean,
Sorry,
yeah,
bro.
so Adam with National Comfort Institute is joining us for this show as well. Jumped in. Adam, you've got some situations in Chicago, right, where you have see pan joist returns.
Yeah, they're finally getting to the point where we're not really using it in new construction anymore. Sometimes, depending on where you're at, they'll still kind of throw it in here or there. But for the most part, I think everyone's got slapped on the wrist enough times that we're kind of
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of housing stock that hasn't.
It's wild. It's really
Yeah.
wild. I
So-
think it was because we feel like Adam doesn't need an introduction. I think that was the
That's
deal.
probably exactly
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Dave. Let's go back to that data.
Yeah.
Tell me what we're learning in this data graph.
So what I'm learning here is that, I'm finding out where most of my market is. And most of my market is in that 2.5 ton system. So I'm
Okay.
Right.
usually houses that are going to be, 1,400 to 2,000 square feet.
Wow.
Or a little bit more.
It's wild. I mean,
Yeah,
Jerry
okay.
Garcia should be happy. There's
I
only,
got you.
what, 4 or 5 tons?
Yeah, I don't do a lot of
That's awesome.
4 or 5 ton systems. I do. I have several customers
Yeah.
that have those larger capacities.
And you
but,
probably didn't install them, I'm
uh,
assuming.
probably not.
Because Adam wants to say there should be a special license to install a 5-ton
That's what
in
I'm
Florida.
going to start a petition.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
sign up for that.
Yeah.
Brian Orr's going to spearhead it.
And-
Cool.
And so a lot of the work and when I look at the projects, I know what the system's going in, and I look at the house
Right.
and I say, there's no way that this is a 2.5 ton. It should be a 2 ton or a ton and a half. And so when we get into that position where we need to change the equipment, and I'll do my manual J load calculation and do a blower door so that I don't have to guess on what my
Right.
infiltration rate is, so that then I could look at, one way that we can correct duct pressure issues is by making sure the equipment's the right size.
Yeah.
Ductwork's not the right size for the equipment most of the cases that we
Yeah.
run into.
Let me interrupt you real quick. I just want to ask this because I know a lot of people in the industry, residential, are still looking at square footage per ton, right? That's
course.
what they think is the way to go. And I think, what I see people posted online, mostly they're saying, 400 or 500 square feet per ton. You're in Iowa. You're not too far, Ohio. Where are you?
Iowa.
Okay, yeah. So we're not too far from each other. We're kind of in the same climate zone. You actually have a little bit of a higher design temperature. How old are these houses that you're getting away with 1,000 square feet per ton?
So the average age of the house in Council Bluffs would have been built in 1970.
Oh, wow. I mean, come on.
So We still have a lot of new home construction. Not all. I mean, of course, we have a lot.
So
But our population, I mean, since I can remember, we've been at roughly 61,000 population in Council Bluffs. So
Okay.
it's for 30 plus years. So we live right across the street, or right across the river from Omaha. So Omaha is really booming, but
Yeah.
the majority of the people build in Nebraska, not so much.
Chris,
So-
is that,
so yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
My small add to that was going to be, if you go back many shows ago, we were kind of we were teasing out the 500 square foot per ton thing.
Yeah,
And remember we had that show and I ran a load calc on how bad a house had to be to actually make that work.
Yeah.
You remember that show?
yeah, man.
It was bad, like real
Yeah.
bad.
It's ridiculous.
I've never played it, but you know what I didn't do? I didn't go to other climate zone regions and play out the same game, but I'd like to now, just to see how bad you got to make a house to make
this
that
is,
theory work.
Just to be clear, and just so everyone understands, like a house in 1970 in the Midwest, this is a super average house. There's nothing
Yes.
special about this.
Right.
People are not going above and beyond with insulation or anything else. It's just average.
Right.
So,
exactly.
so Dave, I'm going to push you because there's a lot we want to get to, but like
No
I said,
problem.
like my closing statement in my mind is this is good data to have like if you were to, not that you're going to put this in front of a homeowner, but if you've got a homeowner who's questioning the tonnage you're going to put in this house and you have a reputation in your market, you could say, hey, I can see how that feels, but why don't you take a look at this data set that I have?
Right.
These are all the jobs I've done, and these are how many 2-tons I put in. And by the way, your neighbor down the street, you know that house? Yeah, he has a 2-ton, and that neighbor has a 2-ton. It's like, I do this all the time. Like, that's where I see that data being useful in my mind.
where,
That's
where
cool.
the other neighbor has a 3.5 ton.
Yep.
And it's the same house.
And they have
Built
humidity
same-
issues.
Right.
Yeah.
So take us to another data set.
So the next one would be the 2024 AC TESP.
Okay. TSP.
So it's going to be a
Okay.
kind of a blue.
All right.
Chris, if you,
So that's the
Oh, yeah.
distribution.
if it helps.
So that would be the distribution of total external static pressure.
Okay.
And so I blocked it in 1/10 static pressure groups so that I could see, where we are. And I put it.
And this is
intentionally-
the year's worth of data, right?
Yeah. This,
Okay.
Just on air conditioning. Doesn't include my heat pumps. Doesn't include.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't
Interesting.
include air handling units. It's just the air conditioners alone.
Okay.
Majority of them are going to be gas furnaces.
Got it.
But so I put that cutoff there because I wanted to see at 0.55. They say 10%. So if we're point, and I didn't include any of the 8/10 static. So these are all 0.5 furnaces, not any of the 0.8.
Oh,
that are
okay.
out there. So it's
Gotcha.
Because I didn't want to skew the data.
Right. It'll mess it up. Yeah,
It'll screw it up.
absolutely.
So, so you can see that majority of the systems that I'm looking at, of that, at 0.55, were roughly 40 systems that
Mhm.
that meet the 0.5 standard.
Okay.
Going up to 0.55. So 64 of the systems failed. They exceeded that maximum external static
So
pressure.
from there to the right over.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So-
Yeah, if you're looking at the chart after the 219 columns,
Right.
he's saying that that bottom axis is saying here's all the units that have measured above 0.5. And
Right.
these are all furnaces, from what you're saying, that had a 0.5
Air
fan
conditioning,
curve
yeah,
table.
right.
And so
Any,
it's like,
any air handlers?
No air.
No. Okay.
No,
Wow.
it's,
Gotcha. Okay. So everything was
so,
right.
and this data is important for me during the off season, so that I can look at those systems, those 60 systems that exceed the static pressure, so that we can start having conversations about what can we do for airflow upgrades.
Okay.
Is it a matter of
Wow.
doing
Cool.
filter cabinet change? Is it a matter of
Right.
doing adding return air, increasing supply air ductwork?
Right.
So that way it gives me time during the off season to say, hey, remember when I was here in the spring
Right.
or in the summer when you were having a problem? We
Right.
got it
Like-
going, and
yeah.
we talked about the report that we got from the TrueFlow grid showing that our gauge said our static pressure was too high and our airflow was too low. Remember that conversation? Now we've got the time to be able to make those improvements so that we can increase your comfort and increase the performance of the equipment.
Dave, I got
1.3. I would have
Hold
changed
on,
something
hold
real
on.
quick though.
Dave. I like to do this show because sometimes there's ideas that come out of it that blow my mind.
Yeah.
And hear me out. You just gave me a heck of an idea. And look, don't call me and push me for this because trust me, now it's on my brain and I'm going to go document it in our software development page. But imagine if the TrueFlow had a way to pull up all of your reports that had high TSP so you know who to call and do follow-up leads with.
Yeah,
What
and then
if
use
you
it
could-
like
what if
this.
you could group them by how bad they are.
Right.
as well, too. So you have like
Yes, that way, what I'm saying is I just caught on to what you're doing with this data set. You're like, I know who to call,
Right.
right?
Dude.
I know who to call when I'm slow.
Or a service
could
manager
literally-
can go into the
I
account
could literally do that.
and go.
And then you wouldn't even have
Yeah.
to do it. We could make that available for like everybody to be able to do. Oh
everybody
my gosh.
can be a David.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
This
wow.
is just okay.
I heard
okay.
it. I heard it in the grapevine.
So that's the kind of data that I use.
Wow.
That I could
That's juicy.
generate income during those off seasons.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
that's the importance that I find from that.
That's amazing. Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's
awesome.
amazing.
Game changer day right here. Just
Cool.
happened.
Okay.
You just heard it right here. That's David's idea. I'll give you credit.
And then I
Right.
guess what we want to do with the pie chart. So it'll be the red and green sections of the pie chart.
so one that's
Okay, the-
2024 TSP distribution.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, not that guy.
So
Okay, yep, we got it
and
pulled up.
again, this is just putting all of that data from the normal the distribution curve, just putting in it a different format to visualize how that data is all compiled. So during that first year in 2007, 2008, I compiled, every year I do the same thing. But this was compiled, and when I did that testing, nearly 81% of the systems that I tested exceeded at 0.5.
Wow.
And now, through those duck improvements that I've made, those same systems, we've cut that from 81% to just about 67%. So
Okay.
I'm making improvement. There's a lot of inventory out there to make improvements, and,
So-
and it's just my wife and me. We're just a mom and pop operation.
Oh,
So
okay, cool.
we can't set the world on fire. We can only fight off so
And
much.
who was it at NCI that pushed you to do this?
Rock fall.
It was Rob. So we're blaming Rob for this.
Yeah.
All this data. This is
Yeah.
amazing.
So,
I hear a lot of good stories about him
Yeah.
here.
so that's important. That for me, that
awesome.
speaks volumes because it's showing how that just simple duct, airflow changes can make a big improvement in performance. And I guess the next point would be I wanted to show the average
TSP.
2024 AC average TSP.
Okay.
And I have that grouped based on capacity. So it's going to be the orange chart.
Okay, we're there.
We're there.
got it.
So again, I want to see how each capacity, 10.5 is performing, 2 ton performing, all the way up to 5 ton. And as you can see, the 10.5 and the 2 ton units are on average performing at the 0.5 static, external static pressure. Then when we get it at 2.5 ton, 3, 3.5, 4, 5, it really shoots up pretty fast. And again, most of the time, those systems that are 4 and 5 ton units, 3.5, 4 and 5 ton units, they're already oversized. So we know that when we can forecast using the TrueFlow grid, using the forecast feature, I know that after I do my manual J load calculation and my manual S equipment selection, that I'm going to be able to take that 5 ton unit and at least drop it to a 4.
Right. Yeah, usually.
Because the ductwork is more than likely either set up for a 4 ton or a 3.5 ton. So there's no way a 5 ton capacity is going to work. So that's helpful for me to see where those tonnage of units are performing.
You know, you've probably heard us say before, we talk a lot about permanent load reduction at TEC. And this kind of coincides with a lot of the data set we've come back from the TrueFlow. Like when we do like a monster data pull, and just let everybody know, we can't like go find your test or something like that. We don't pull in your name and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But we can look at the data that's the raw data, that's like TESP, this file. Like we can't go find a particular file, but we can find a particular topic, right? If we want to see everything that has a high TSP, we can pull that down. So we can pull the data. And everything that's like above a 3 ton, the initial test-ins are always typically average, like just like this graph, it's really high, right?
Yeah.
TSP is really high. So it's like we have really interesting data of thousands of tests. What's fascinating is the 2 tons and 3 tons are not that bad, right? It's like, because they come set up with the fan airflow.
Right.
I guess it's mostly locked in around
I
400
wonder if it
CFM
has
per
to do a
ton.
little bit with building construction, right? Your average wall is, the studs are only so big, right? And a lot of
saying,
systems,
like if they're using joist, like stud cavities as a joist cavity.
Yeah.
right?
Well,
So
you
you
know,
only have so much room, and then if they're doing a 1 return filter, normally a 1.5 ton or a 2 ton, that size by whatever size. I'm just saying a little factor. You know what I mean?
I think it's got a lot to do with, you've probably heard me talk about distribution of goods and implementation and how do you get the materials around your install. And you start looking at 2 tons and 3 tons and equipment that you can get. You can get a filter cabinet that bolts up like to the back of a unit, so it's easy to grab.
Right.
Distributors want to send it. It makes it easy, blah, blah, blah. And for the flow rate of 2 ton, 3 ton, it's a good matchup, but then you start getting to 4 ton and it's not going to work. But they think it does, and they don't look at any data and they slap that bad boy on there, and before you know it, it ain't working. But it's a long-term problem that starts showing up. It's not an immediate result, which I'm going to throw a plug to Dave, right? This is a different than our normal show where we don't play the game. Dave, I'm going to let you plug away. You've got a product for that situation. Can you tell me about that?
Sure. In 2007, again, as part of my commitment to myself and to NCI, what I was going to do, I looked at how can we reduce pressure drop. And again, John Ellis has got an incredible filter cabinet, his DF16. I'm going to promote that because it is medical grade. It is the best out there on the market. What I did was just a little bit different. I'm not wanting to necessarily go to that high of MERV rating, but I went into VBAG filters and W. So I built a filter cabinet and I called it the Coziahr filter cabinet. So it's just a play on my name.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And you build these, right?
I build these.
Yeah.
I build these myself, and I used TC calibrated fans to pull airflow through my filter, so I could plot static pressure and airflow through the filter cabinet itself. So I was able to develop flow rates and static pressure.
That's next level stuff, right?
So I will say this: we get questions all the time. People are like, "Oh, could you put this on the chamber? Could you put this on the chamber?" And our chamber time is really hard to get. Okay, it's like our chamber is active, right? It's not like it's just there. Yeah. And so Steve Rogers always says, you got a duct blaster. It's almost like a mini chamber. Like that is a super, super, super accurate device.
Yes.
And so if you set it up like you're saying, and we mention this to people periodically, but I never hear a follow-up story saying, I did that. Yeah. I used the duct blaster as a chamber and I'm using it to get data, and you did it. So man, I'm super jazzed to hear that.
Impressed. Yeah. It's really cool.
So that's my Coziahr filter cabinet, and so I make them in standard cabinet width. So I've got a 14-inch, 17.5-inch, 21-inch, 24.5-inch, both in.
Which, for those listening, if you're not from Furnace Land, those are your typical 4 sizes of cabinet.
So it's an A, B, C, and D cabinet. Whatever how they do that. So, and I make them in air handler as well as furnaces. So my furnace cabinets hold 20 by 25 by 2-inch filters, and the furnace cabinets are 20 by 25 by 2-inch. Air handlers are 20 by 20 by 2. And in the 14-inch cabinet, the A width, there's 2 filters. B width, there's 3 filters. C width, there's 4 filters. And in the D width, I've got 5 filters.
But it's made to where it's actually, you could put it in the duct system without getting super disruptive because you've made the shape to kind of fit the cabinet width. So you kept space constraints in mind.
Yes.
So I want to let you do one more piece on that before we go back to data. If someone wanted to look at it, where would they look at it?
They could just go to my website, CozierHVAC.com.
Okay, so
And I've got
that's
all
where you're
of
going to check
Can you
that out.
spell it out?
Sure, it's COZIAHRHVAC.
There we go. So go check that out, guys. All right, Dave, take us back to the data.
So the next thing I want to go to is that we looked at static pressure for the tonnage of the air conditioners. Now let's look at airflow by capacity. So it's going to be the green chart.
Okay.
And this is the most telling. I mean, this is where we're saying that a 5-ton unit is definitely not a 5-ton unit.
Yeah.
So of those systems, you can see the 10.5. We're actually we're in a hot moist climate. So we're 400 CFM per ton. So
Okay.
even our 1.5-ton systems, the average airflow is exceeding. So we're closer to that 420 CFM, 430 CFM per ton on our 1.5-ton units.
Right.
And 2 tons are pretty close. 2.5 are pretty close. 3 tons pretty close. But then we get to the 3.5,
Yeah.
4, and 5 ton, and they don't even come close to
Right.
what the airflow target.
Right. So Adam's petition should maybe do 3.5, 4, and 5s.
This
Special license to install those.
yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does.
I mean, that's what the data shows. That's not my opinion.
Our raw data set is we are right in line with this data. You know, like I would say of the thousands of tests we've pulled and put together some histographs like this,
Mhm.
and this goes back to what I was saying. Like the 2-ton, 3-ton market, typically okay, right? It's working fine. The flows are typically set right. It's not airflow is not the issue, but lower tonnages, high flows. Higher tonnages, low flows across the board. I mean, it's real bad, and there's a lot of data to prove that.
And I'm gonna get on my soapbox for a second and talk about my favorite subject, because Dave mentioned, like, when you install the correct size equipment, it has a huge impact on the airflow and static pressure.
Huge,
And
yeah.
a lot of people think that airflow and static pressure kind of track each other, right? So
Like linearly, you
right.
mean?
So
Yeah.
if you cut airflow in half, your static pressure is going to be cut. But that's not the case. Static pressure moves at the square of airflow. So, like, if you drop the airflow a little bit, your static pressure drops quite a bit, substantially.
Is it like 3 or 4-fold? I remember
It's squared. So
Squared.
like this is the way I explain it to people when we talk about it. Because everybody has a duculator. I say, hey, pull out your duculator, set your float. I don't know. Let's just say 400 CFM. Add a 0.2 static, right? And then increase the flow in your duculator to double that. Let's go to 800, and you look at the pressure, and the pressure will be 0.8. Or it'll be very close to that. I mean, duculator, it's not like a calculator, but it kind of is.
Right.
So you're dealing with lines, but very close, and it kind of puts it in perspective for you in a visual aid to say, oh, okay, like that is the squared relationship we're talking about.
So especially when we look at that 5-ton column, and granted there aren't a lot of units in that column. There's only 4 systems, but of those 4 systems, we were just barely moving enough air for a 3.5-ton. So we paid for a 5-ton. We're moving 3.5 tons of air.
Right.
So
And then we have duct losses. So
Yeah, that's
really
what Adam was
3.5
talking about in this
it's
class
probably
earlier.
going to be a 3-ton.
I want to deep dive for a second. Y'all want to go? Y'all
I
want to go
thought-
real
I thought
deep?
We were pretty.
You want to go
Let's
real
go
deep?
I
deep.
thought the
All right.
submarine was pretty far
I
down.
got my
I put my mask
All
on.
right.
Yeah, I put my suit on.
I've had people tell me this, and in my brain I see it a different way, differently than they do. But this is what people have told me, and they've asked me, "Oh, could you do this?" And I'm like, "Well, I got to see the whole picture." If I'm looking at this graph, and let's just say I have a 5-ton and it's moving for ease of understanding, let's just say it's moving 1,200 CFM, right? 5-ton, it's a 3-ton, and they go, "Well, if it's cooling the house, I should just put back in a 3-ton." That's what people will tell me. And I'm like, you can't think of it just like that. And this is the rabbit hole I want to go down.
Oh, I like it. I know where he's going.
Yeah,
That's
I'm going
awesome.
sensible heat factor. That's my direction. Okay, I gave it away, but that's where I'm headed. But the story needs to be told. If a 5-ton is running that low of airflow, and surprisingly not freezing up, it is removing a lot of moisture if it's actually running. Right now, there's another avenue to that to say, well, it may not be running that much. That may be true too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if it is running, it is a moisture removing beast. And so if you just look at airflow, and then you put a 3-ton back in its place, and let's just say the pressure and flow are perfect at 400 CFM per ton or something like that.
Right.
Now, what is the sensible heat ratio of the 3-ton you just put in because you were just matching an airflow equation and not looking at what can the 3-ton remove for moisture? Principle saying, do your manual J, look at your latent,
Right.
pick your equipment, do your manual S, do not make all of that determination. You can't shorthand the equation based off just airflow and pressure and say, well, if you're comfortable, I have enough data to make this. You don't have enough data to make this decision.
Correct.
I guess that's what I'm saying.
I agree. It's just looking at the chart, and most definitely, I would not recommend a 3-ton or a 3.5-ton until I've done my manual J and I've done my manual S,
Right.
and have a blower door test to let me know what my infiltration is. Because if we don't know that number, again, we're just plugging in garbage that could bite us in the end.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of
we
what I have
definitely
in my house.
always want to do due diligence in making sure the equipment is sized properly based on our manuals.
The one thing I was going to mention too, depending, obviously this is a hypothetical situation, but like if you're like your example where you said let's throw a 3-ton back in, now you have something else that affects the sensible heat factor, right? So that old machine could quite possibly be a 10 SEER, which it has a much lower sensible heat factor than the new 14 or 16 SEER
Right.
Like
in
a
the
double
first
whammy.
place. So it's a double whammy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
But
you have to use data, you got to use numbers, and the only way to do it is by design.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, take us where we need to go. I'm loving
Steer
this episode,
this
by the way.
submarine.
What we want to go to
Like-
next, and this is part of
The aqua color one.
the turquoise. Yeah, turquoise. So this is the beginning part of ASHRAE 221. But this is only I'm looking at the cooling equipment performance score, so CEPS. And so I'm just measuring it at the equipment. And so what we're looking at here is that I've measured my airflow, I measured enthalpy, and I'm calculating based on my altitude, the altitude correction factor. You
Whoa.
can see.
This
Wow.
dude, wow. Yeah.
What?
That's awesome.
Really?
So
I mean,
you're looking-
NCI is really getting these guys to dig deep, man.
So you're looking at our 1.5 ton units, which
Right.
are performing the best. And
Okay.
So how
even
are they-
at best, they're only getting 83% of its capacity.
Okay.
Oh,
Of its
off
rated
of capacity.
capacity.
Okay.
Rated
Gotcha. Yeah, I was
at the equipment.
I was trying to understand
So is
what
it
that
like-
number was. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So like almost like comfort. Well, no
Well, this is just measuring the equipment performance.
performance. Yeah.
And when I look at the data, I didn't have enough time to prepare the cooling system performance. So that completion part of 221, ASHRAE 221, but it's relatively close to what everybody tells us from NCI that we've got 57% system performance from through our equipment.
Dave, I just want to make sure, I am a person who takes a minute to digest a graph. And I just want to make sure I'm understanding it right, because I'm sure there's probably some people like me who are
Sure.
also
We
just aren't
definitely
as
want to make
savvy,
sure that,
as
that
I
the charts
like.
are speaking the right language.
Yeah. And so can you take me through the first column? Like I see the 83 at the top.
So
okay, on the
that
1.5
should be a
ton.
percentage.
Okay. So
the-
83% of.
Oh,
of
okay.
the equipment capacity.
Okay. Got it.
So
Is that a cumulative thing? Like,
It's
is it
an-
of
again,
all
it's
the
an
okay of
average.
all the
It's-
systems that
it's a-
you've tested?
it's an average of those
Oh,
systems
okay. I'm grasping
that
now.
a ton and a half.
So let me see if I can say it, and you tell me if I'm right. That way, I'm gonna try to say it in plain language. Of all of the systems over the aggregated data here, the 1.5 ton systems, on average, hit a score of 83%.
Right.
Okay,
Just
got
as
it.
the
So
equipment-
it was moving 83% of it. It was delivering 83% of its capacity just outside the equipment.
to the
Right.
ductwork.
Right.
Not to the rooms.
To
Right.
the
Yeah.
ductwork.
Right.
So we
Not
haven't right now. We have an equipment problem. We haven't even gotten to the system.
Exactly.
Yes,
Ooh,
this is a system
this doesn't
problem.
even
Data
talk
graph.
to the system.
Wow.
Wow,
But
dude.
my data is showing that it's pretty close
That's wild.
That the data that NCI has collected. So
And
we're
was it
roughly about 60% across the board that they're delivering to the city. Because
was it more
again,
airflow driven or was it more refrigerant driven?
it's more airflow.
Or flow driven? Okay.
But
Wow.
again,
Oh, he's happy.
remember
The
where
airflow guy.
remember where our duct systems are.
He just sold 3 more cupolas.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I have leading
I
questions
saw-
for a reason, man.
Dude, thank God I got glasses on because the sparkle in his eye when David said that, it was blinding.
You got to throw up a softball.
Yeah,
That's right, man.
That's wild. It's like
Sponsored
not
by-
even, yeah, not even like sub. I figure subcool would be
Yeah.
off. You know,
Yeah.
And I can imagine in
Wow.
climates where ductwork is external of the conditioned space,
Right.
that number is going to be even less.
Mhm.
So I mean, and again, my data shows our system performance is roughly 60%. So what's coming out of the registers
Right.
is 60%. NCI says 57.
Wow.
They're throughout the United States, but our ductwork is all in the
All
basement.
In the
It's
basement.
all in the
Right.
basement.
Right.
You lucky dog.
And all my ductwork immediately goes
But we
right
have a
into the
few.
attic. Yeah.
You know, we have a few duct systems that are in attics, and
Yeah.
when we find those, we've got 40% duct loss. We're losing 40%.
Yeah. And you do duct leakage testing
We
when
do
you.
duct leakage
Oh,
testing.
cool. That's what I do. Yeah.
So that
Awesome.
we can make sure that we're delivering where it needs
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah.
So, and the screening that Measurable Gap has
Mhm.
allows us to do that quick test. To
Oh, the
determine duct leakage screen.
yeah.
In the quick test.
Two field piece. The
Just
well.
place your probe.
I'm sorry. I guess you could use anything in
Any-
measure quick, right?
You can use any.
Any psychometer. Yeah.
So I'm just like playing with the math in my head. Like, so a 5-ton system, I know that you didn't measure too many of these,
Right.
but like a 5-ton system, if you have 71%, like these don't look like they're crazy different, but everyone's got to understand there's the higher tonnage systems have more BTUs. So those percentages kind of track is worse, right? So
Yeah.
you have a 5-ton with or equipment performance score of 71. So that 5-ton is a 3.5 ton.
Oh,
Yeah, like 30%
okay.
reduction. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean-
it visually, it doesn't. It could be.
When I think of percentages, I think of everything starting with the number 10 because I think we're taught that in grade
Right.
school, right? You
Yes.
think 10 percentage, but like when you think about 71%, you think, okay, well, you got to think about it a little bit differently. 5-ton, and then like now it's like, 70% of the number 5, right? Which is where you're getting like 3.5. It's like, ooh, that sounds way worse.
Well, 60,000 BTUs.
Yeah.
Right.
Another way to
But
spin it.
5 tons, not 60,000.
True.
It's
Yeah.
6,000.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
So
It's
we're
like-
not, right. So
And
we're
well,
not even-
depending on the airflow, it might even be
Exactly.
I see
52,000.
some like 49.
Yeah.
And again, you're
Okay.
right. Depends on where.
It's so wild. Yeah, I think they should just ban the 5s.
All right, take
So-
us, Dave.
So
Where are we
then I
going?
think we're coming up to the.
You got more data.
Got one last chart here. It's the pie chart with the 4 sections.
Okay.
All right.
So then NCI has a great budget for your system components.
Mhm.
You want 20% of your 0.5 static to be for your filter, 20% for your supply, 20% for your return, and then 40% for your coil. So when we look at the yellow section, our coil, we're not doing too bad. On 0.5, we'd expect about 0.2 static pressure drop, and we're at 1.8, 1800. So we're not bad. We're finding the right coils. There are some really bad coils out there as far as pressure drop, and I try to when I find them, it's like, man,
That's
it's really
that's like
horrible.
your course I took this
Yeah.
afternoon. It was yeah. You
There-
had something
there's
similar,
some-
right?
There's some bad coils out there. And then
Yeah.
when we move to the blue section, that's our supply duct. So we want 20% of our 0.5 static, so we should be at 0.1. So we're at 0.12, not too bad.
0.12, okay,
We're
yeah.
pretty close. We go to the red box, which is our return air. Return airs always are the worst part of the duct. Not always, but the majority of the time it's going to be the return air problem. So we're at 0.15. And then when we get to the green section of the pie, that's our filter pressure drop. We're supposed to be at 0.1. for a 0.5 static furnace, and we're almost at 0.2. So we have a
Wow.
there are a lot of, and so this is a compilation of furnaces and air conditioners that I tested. Again, 0.5 static on the furnace, but these would be furnaces and air conditioners combined.
So filters are our big gun.
Again, and that's when I started looking at the data. That's it. What can we do? What can I do to make the best improvement on the duct system? And it was the filter.
Right.
Give me more filter surface area by just anything in.
Wow. That's cool.
Decisions backed by research, man. You literally, Dave, like used data to drive where you wanted to head in life with business. That's pretty wild.
You know, forced to do that.
Yeah,
forced to do that. And
that's cool.
I'm not a trade. I didn't go through trade school. My training is as an engineer. I got my degree at Iowa State University in construction engineering, primarily because I knew I was going to be running a HVAC company. And so I needed to learn about construction scheduling, estimating, finance, business law. So all of those courses that I took helped prepare me to come back and work with my father. And he was a second generation company and owner, and then I got to work with him full time for 15 years.
That's
in
awesome.
Full-time capacity, and so it was great fun.
And when did you start working with NCI?
So I started working at NCI in 2007.
Okay,
That's the first
2007.
course I took. So, and I've had multiple certifications through the program just because I want to support the people that are supporting me.
Yeah.
And they've supported me for these many years. And I can't say enough.
Yeah. It's a real fast track. I mean, if you could learn this by yourself on YouTube, but this is like the fast track to like just it's getting to talk to everybody here. They're just going like so quick.
And everybody is so willing to share the information with you. I mean,
yeah.
I know we're in a competitive nature, but we can still be friends. We can still learn from each other, and that way we're elevating everybody. I mean, because now we're expecting each other to do the best.
Rising all the boats, right?
So I'm going to repeat this again for the second time. You met Anthony Wu, right?
Yes.
Great guy. He's really making strides, but he had a profound thought. We recorded a podcast earlier today with Dave.
Okay.
And he said, collaboration happens at the top and competition happens at the bottom.
Ooh, that's deep. That's deep, and I like it.
It is. Well, when we look at, I mean, what always I thought was when I look at history, one of the classes I had to take a history class at Iowa State to meet my graduation requirements. So I took the history of science. I wanted to learn a lot more about science, and I looked back at that time, and those scientists at the time, even though they were somewhat competitive, they're working together. They want to solve the same problem, and it wasn't necessarily I want to get there before you. I'm going to help you out. This is what I found out in my research that you might not have thought of. And so by everybody contributing these ideas into one repository like NCI,
cool.
Everybody is benefiting from that experience.
They're all moving forward, and basically it's like the Manhattan Project of HVAC over here. It really is. There's a lot of Oppenheimers around here, I'll tell you what, man. Because, I mean, if you look at the data, right, there's enough houses out there that are busted up, right? So, like, if you think you're stealing work, or like there's another guy in your neighborhood who's doing home performance or testing like this, there's a bunch of broken homes. It's bad. So
that was something I wanted to mention on when you were talking, Dave. Since I've been at this conference, I have spoken to many people, and something that I've heard in the past, but I am hearing repeatedly over and over and over, is people are coming up to me and they're like, man, I just fix broken houses. Like I got so much of that work. You know, it's like that is my everyday. And I'm like, man, and it's not just one guy, one company right now. I would say if I could I'm just throwing a statistic out there of the people that have came and talked to me about that. And maybe it's because they know us for like the whole house infiltration thing, all that.
Right. And the blower door. Yeah, exactly.
And it's just been like, I would say 20 people. And that's rare at an HVAC show to have like that's HVAC driven.
Saying I'm not
to have
an
20
HVAC
people
guy.
coming
I
in
love
saying
broken houses.
And here's what's changed. Here's what's changed in the last couple of years. They're not asking me how to get started. They're just telling me what they're doing. Like the industry's changing. These guys are like, yeah, I'm fixing these houses. They have room pressurization problems, ran a blower door, foam attic, it's leaky. And they're telling me, they're not asking me for advice. They're just telling me that they're out there getting it done. And I'm like, whoa,
like what I've seen
these guys
too.
are doing it. They're not even asking for advice. They're like, I want to go to the next. They're itching for it. They're like, what's next? What's next? And I'm like, sounds like you got it. Keep going.
Well, that was a problem that I experienced a lot with the building contractors. It was, I know how houses work. I mean, that's what I learned to do in college. Is how structures should go together. And one of the classes, I took classes that weren't directly related to my engineering, but I took courses that were important to me. So I looked at building construction. I mean, I took architecture classes to learn, what were houses built like in the 30s? Well, we used balloon construction, balloon framing. And so that, and how did we do that? And then I took solar energy design back in 1978. We had a community near Johnston, Iowa, that all of the homes were passive solar homes. And so I took a course that I teamed up with an architect, and he designed the house, and I was able then to design the mechanical systems that were in there based on and determine what kind of thermal mass I needed to be able to store that solar energy into the structure so that it wouldn't come off too quickly.
That's like the Serve 2 guy, the owner of Serve 2, like what his science is.
Okay. I don't know.
Solar. I kind of dug a little deep on the gentleman who owns the company Serve 2. I was talking to Bill Spone about it a little bit, but on his website, he talks a lot about which direction of the house he faces it towards the sun, certain windows and building mass, just like you were saying. Yeah, it's really interesting stuff.
So I think of John Tooley when you talk about thermal mass. And John Tooley was telling me about the houses he built in Florida, and he had so much thermal mass. He's like people couldn't believe it. What's crazy is if you're familiar with John Tooley. John Tooley's he wrote the paper Mad Air. It just building science genius,
sure,
right?
Sure.
Well, his stories are phenomenal, right? And he was telling me last time we were hanging out. Or maybe it was like a couple times ago. I don't know. Anyway,
once a week.
Sorry. But he was telling me the story about how he built this house in Florida, and he thought he was just going to change the world and everybody would be coming and asking for it. But the house was so radical. There's like little tiny air conditioner, tons of thermal mass, and he had like figured it out, right? And people were like scared to death of it. They're like, I don't trust that. So he had a hard time getting rid of it.
When I read the paper Mad Air, I was actually upset. Because I thought our group was on like the cutting edge of doing blower door, duct leakage.
By the way, that paper, when you pull it up online, it was like written in a typewriter.
Yeah.
It looks like in the 70s. It looks like Murder She Wrote. I mean, so I'm reading it and I go, wait. I saw 1985. I like literally got upset because I go, if this guy was on the money, he was on the bullseye. I mean, who am I to move this forward? How do I move and just get the industry moving forward? Like you said, he was building houses.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing it.
Yeah,
he was.
But I feel like we're pushing the needle, bro.
Yeah, I think
it doesn't sound confident.
There's, I think Eli must said is like, what did he said something about like we're going to lose the education if we don't figure out a way to kind of keep it going. But I think there's plenty of stuff that has been learned, lost, and we're relearning it again. And that like don't want to see that cycle repeating itself.
They asked him if technology keeps on improving throughout generations, and he said no. technology is sometimes often forgotten, just like Mad Air. We picked it up. It was like 2017, I don't know. But think about it. We forgot to how to build the Roman aqueducts, and they don't know how they built the pyramids.
We forgot how to go to the moon.
We forgot how to go to the moon. I mean, that's what NASA said. I didn't say it.
Did we ever go to the moon?
Well, that's
Let's
another.
save that for another podcast.
Yeah,
So I think
Yeah.
what we want to do is
we'll be
bring it
right back.
full
Yep.
circle.
Okay,
And
yeah.
talk about why it's important to collect the data.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
it's very important. It can be a strategic part of your business model.
Yeah.
Because now you can start looking at it in a surgical way.
Yes.
Okay, where do we need to make those airflow upgrades? Is it in the filter? Is it doing a better job on coil selection? Is it the supply duct adding? So for me, collecting the data, I don't always use it.
Right.
I want to collect it. I want to have it.
Okay.
I want to be able to utilize it. And one thing that, and we know that if anything goes wrong in the house, the HVAC contractor is the one to blame. And they don't come to us to consult. How can we make the house better?
It is
How
weird,
can
right?
we make
Why?
how can we make those permanent
Yeah.
reductions in load? And we know how to do it.
We know how to do it. Yeah.
And for me, it's like, that's what I
I'm your
learned in
guy.
college.
Just call me.
And the building contractors would not listen to me. They just, well, you don't know, you're just the HVAC
Yeah.
guys. Okay.
Uh-huh.
There you go.
So what's your number two? Like filters, you said we're focus on filter.
I focus on the return air because we know that's where
And then-
the biggest pressure
Okay.
drop is. And what can I do is I can put in one of my Coziahr filter cabinets, and I can put in I was putting, I guess I didn't know it, but I was putting bad big ass ducts in
Yeah.
before it was
Before it
before
was
it was the rage.
before it
I
was
was
cool.
putting, in
Yeah.
2007,
Yeah.
I was putting in 20 by 20 return air drops.
Yes,
20
that's
by
it.
24 return air drops.
Yeah.
So, for the essence of time, here's what I want to do. To close out the show,
We go another half an hour.
we'll go another half an hour. I would say you can either say a profound statement from what you've learned here, or you can ask one of the co-guests here or co-host a question. Mike, batter up. You get to go first.
I gotta ask. a
Yeah, you
question.
can either say something profound or ask David or Adam a question. What are you gonna do? What are you
I
gonna
would
do?
say, David. Well, for somebody to start getting into this, what are your recommendations?
Be prepared to drink out of the fire hose.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things coming at you,
Mhm.
but you got to take it in small chunks.
Take it in
We always
strides.
talk about, we try to do the whole thing at once.
Okay.
Do static pressure first.
Static.
Pressure and airflow. If you can do static pressure and airflow, do that and start developing solutions
Mhm.
to how that problem can be addressed. You're miles ahead.
Right.
Take it slow. And again, that's why I decided to take a year. They asked a 30-day commitment. I said, I gotta have more than 30 days. It's gonna take me. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
and be committed to it. Just force yourself. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
And
Keep doing it.
what's your favorite?
Oh no, you get one.
Oh,
buddy.
man.
You get one. You get one. All right. Adam.
I mean, I don't know how profound of a statement this will be. But this data, I think, it was just awesome seeing it all compiled in one spot. I think I've asked Chris multiple times, like, hey, I'm interested in to see the state of the entire country, but seeing it like localized
Yeah.
and you really tracking everything, it makes me jealous that I didn't do it. Because
Yeah.
I feed off this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, how cool would that? I mean, you got to do it now. You got to get the true flow to be able to stack data like this.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Sell it as a service.
Just pay us a bunch of money. We'll hire another developer.
You
put 'em
think
over.
I could get the app for free?
Sure. Just give us $200,000, at least years worth of work. We'll work it out.
Oh, I'm going to call privilege here. I get two.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Two.
We'll allow it. We'll allow it.
My advisor, when I come in and visit him with challenges I had, the first time I came in and met with Dr. Jack Mickle, my advisor, I said, I got a problem. And he looked at me and he said, Dave, there are no problems. There are only unimagined solutions. So that drives me. I don't look at things as a problem. I look at something that hasn't been imagined yet for a solution. And to follow up on NCI uses a quote by William Thompson, Lloyd Kelvin. His name is Lloyd Kelvin. Got a beautiful statement. I like the simple one. And it's elegant. It says, to measure is to know. So that's
Nice.
That's the simple version
I like that.
of Lloyd Kelvin. To measure is to know.
Okay, I guess my turn. My question's to you, Dave, and this one's something I think about a lot. In the trades, there's always like this level of hatred between technicians and engineers. You're one and the same.
I'm one in the same.
So,
Wow.
And so I have to ask you, not going through trade school or not going the route, say, I did or anything like that. You came in from the engineering side.
Did.
Is there, and this may be easier for you because you went in and you worked on your father, did the same thing, kind of rode similar paths if I went the trade school route. But has there ever been a situation coming from the engineering background where you feel a little bit not part of the circle because you didn't go the trade school tradesman route? Or like did you, or kind of a twofold question is like, did you catch shit for being an engineer?
Shit from both sides.
Oh, really?
Oh my
Yeah.
God, really?
From both sides, because
Oh.
when I go to my Asher meetings, I introduce myself. I'm Dave
Wow.
Coziahr Heating and Air Conditioning, and they look at me like, well, you're just
that
HVAC contractor.
Jamoke
And they
HVAC
say,
guy.
okay, well, yeah, I got my engineering degree. I took my engineering training, fundamentals of engineering exam, so I passed that. So I'm just about a half a step away from being a professional engineer.
Wow.
So just one more step.
The haters are gonna hate.
Yeah,
They're
they do.
everywhere.
And I just want to say, like, I don't hate engineers. Personally, I'm different than most HVAC contractors.
Good.
I learned a lot from one specific engineer independently who taught me tons. So I have like mad respect for engineers. Now, this guy was a practicing engineer, like just like yourself. Like he was in the field doing the work, you know. So like,
Steve
but
Rogers or Leaf?
that was Leaf. I mean, don't get me wrong. Steve's taught me a lot,
Yeah,
but Leaf taught me a ton.
yeah,
Yeah.
good guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. Okay. I mean, what else could you throw in that show? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I didn't know it was gonna go this. The submarine was gonna go this deep. I didn't know you were an engineer. Well,
I was like thinking to myself, I'm not prepared enough for the show. You know what I mean? So, but it went well. It went well.
It's fun.
All right. We'll see you next time.
catch you on the next one.